one important concept that we're going to be applying in not only this chapter, but throughout this class is the concept of significance. So let's break that down in terms of what we understand in common English significance to be. So if something is significant to you, that means that it is impactful or that it is important to you. And in terms of statistics and the studies that we devise, significance refers to whether something should be considered going forward, whether the study that we've developed is actually pointing to something important, or whether there's just not enough evidence to say that there's a definitive pattern or connection or relationship or effect that is being observed. There's two kinds of significance. They differ in some pretty important ways. Sometimes they're the same, sometimes they're not. But in terms of, I have here a graphic from the Pew Research Center. This is a study that was conducted in 2018. It was a survey of U.S. adults, parents of teens aged 13 to 17. And it was a study on whether they monitor how their teenagers are using the internet. So when we talk about statistical significance, we're saying a result from a study has statistical significance if it's unlikely to have occurred by chance alone. So let's parse this. What does this mean? Unlikely, we mean it would be hard for this to happen on a general basis. And it's unlikely to have occurred by chance alone means that if we were just going by the natural probability of events in real life, this is something that we wouldn't expect to see, right? So, for instance, we're talking about the percentage of U.S. parents of teens who say that they check which websites a teen visits. So the number of parents who check often, right, is 27%. That's about just under a third. So if somebody, right, maybe you, if you have a teenager at home, if you check and you perform the same study, right, and you're interested in finding out, among the people that you are friends with, maybe they have teens at home as well, and you find that all of them, right, 100% of them check which websites their teen visits. That's unlikely based on this study, right? It is very different from the natural proportion of parents of teens who say that they check which websites their teen visits often. On the other hand, practical significance is when a result from a study has the property that if taking an action using this result would make some noticeable difference, right? So this is different from statistical significance in that now you're taking what you've observed and you're doing something with it. And if that action makes a difference, then now you have a practically significant result. So something that in the context of this study, let's say that based on this study, there is an organization that undergoes a national education campaign to have parents check which websites their teen visits, not just often, but a lot of the time. And if this campaign was successful, then they're taking action to make a difference on this proportion. So maybe at the end of this campaign, maybe they've managed to change this proportion in this study, a future study, to maybe 50% of the time. And so now you have something that has practical significance. And the importance of the difference between practical and statistical significance is that they're not the same, right? Even if you have something that has statistical significance, that doesn't automatically mean you have practical significance. So just because you have a very rare result does not mean that you necessarily have to act on it. And sometimes taking action on it won't have a measurable difference.